Welcome to the Petersen's Bowhunting Podcast. All bowhunting, all the time. Now, here's your host, Editor Christian Berg.
All right, welcome back to the Bowhunting Podcast. We are all bowhunting all the time, and today I've got a great topic. We're going to talk some 3D archery, why you need to be out there shooting the 3Ds this spring, this summer. A great way to get prepared for the seasons. And I've got two guys who are authorities on the 3D archery game and actually organize some great events that you might be able to take advantage of this year. I'd like to introduce first Mr. John Keene. John is the owner of Bowtreader Archery in Statesboro, Georgia. And you've got, John, a brand new 3D tour in Georgia that we're going to talk about. So welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
And I want to introduce real quick my second guest, and that's Mr. Brandon Waddell, and no relation to Michael. First question I asked him, I know all that you who are listening are wondering, like, hey, is that Michael Waddell's brother? No, not by blood, but probably by spirit. And Brandon is the founder and CEO of the Mountain Archery Fest, which puts on events out in the Western U.S., great 3D shoots. Looking forward to talking to you, Brandon. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Hey, so guys, we were talking a little bit just before we got started. There's no better way, as far as I'm concerned, if you are a bow hunter. And, we always say, people say practice makes perfect, but that's not really true, right? Because then people say, well, perfect practice makes perfect. And so we talk about a lot in the bow hunting world. You want your practice to not just be technically sound, but you want it to be realistic in terms of, the shooting scenarios that you're going to encounter, as well as a little bit of pressure. Because let's face it, you can stand in the backyard all day and just pound the bullseye or the vital area on a 3D target, but you can't necessarily simulate that adrenaline rush that comes when that whitetail buck or that bull elk or that big pronghorn is out there in front of you. And one way to at least give some simulation of that is to be at a 3D shoot, whether it's a competition where you're keeping score or you just have a handful of buddies looking over your shoulder talking smack in your ear and trying to distract you while you make that shot. So, I'll throw it out to you, John. Just talk to me a little bit about, your background with the 3D game and maybe what led you to say, hey, I'm going to put some events together here for other bow hunters in Georgia to take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've never been involved in the competition circuit for 3D or any other target archery. I love to bow hunt, and I love people, and I want people to be outside. That's what is the driving factor behind this. When I say I love people, most people are like, what, man, what's wrong with this guy? Listen, I'm persuaded that the only thing that's going to last forever is the souls of men and women. And I want to spend my time investing in those because I don't know how many days I'm going to get. Today might be my last. I know tomorrow wasn't my last day, and that's as far as I can promise you at this point, right? But yeah, man, we love getting people outside. We love getting people to get involved in archery because one of the things that I've seen, and I've only been doing this for 4 years, we just started the tour this year. One of the things that I've seen is that people put their bow down at the end of bow season and they don't pick it back up until after July 4th. Or really, kids go back to school by and large in Georgia August 1st. So once they get done with summer vacations, get back into the groove of kids going back to school and stuff like that, that's when they pick their bows back up. And man, it just, golly, you're missing a lot of fun, in my opinion. So that's a lot of what's driving us to do this.
Well, and just to piggyback on that, I guess I guess we could say you have a vested interest as a bow shop owner, because you were telling me, you own Bowtreader. I don't know if it's Bowtreader Outdoors or just Bowtreader Pro Shop, but you basically have a pro shop there in Statesboro, Georgia. You opened in 2018. You'd like to see people engaged, right, all year round. I'm sure you're very busy in, August, September, as people are getting ready for the start of deer season, and you have that crazy foot traffic. But like you said, there's a lot to be enjoyed with the sport 12 months a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, when we do the shoots that are going to be in our local area, yeah, we're going to be telling those folks, hey, come to our shop, come see us. We can take care of this for you, or want to be your go-to. But when we go to these other areas across the state, I'm not telling a guy 200 miles away from me that he needs to come to my bow shop. We're reaching out to local bow shops and saying, hey, listen, we're holding this event. We're not coming in here to take your customer. We're coming in here to help all the boats rise with the tide.
Right.
We want to get more people going. Like we just had an event this past weekend in Middle Georgia, and man, we had dozens of folks come out who had never shot a bow before. Some of them were kids, some of them were adults who had never shot a bow before, and we're over there setting them up, letting them shoot a bow for the first time. Showing them some tips of what to do and what not to do. Right, that bowstring has his lane, and he's staying in his lane. That's what we tell everybody. Don't get in his lane, because if you do, he's going to hit you. And then we had some guys that were there this weekend that haven't shot in like 15 years or something. And they were able to shoot a 2022 flagship bow with absolutely zero pressure to buy, because I couldn't sell it to them if I wanted to. When I reached out to all the bow manufacturers and told them that we were going to be doing this, their first response was, okay, you want money. How much money do you want? And I said, listen, we don't want money. Maybe down the road, if you like what we're doing, come help us. Right. But what I want to do is take the bows. And every one of them, it was a resounding yes. As long as you're not selling them, absolutely. You take those bows and you let people shoot them. And so that's been a lot of fun, letting people shoot those bows and without them having to be dying to make the purchase right then. So
that's pretty cool. How many manufacturers did you get on board, and what kind of bows do you have available for people to try out at your events?
We've got the flagship bows from Bowtech, Matthews, Hoyt, Elite, and Prime.
Wow!
So
that's a great lineup, because so many of these events and things nowadays, right, are sponsored by one manufacturer or another. That's really cool. That's kind of like the full pro shop experience coming to one of your shoots, because you can walk in, you can try 2 or 3 different bows, and like you said, for somebody who's new at archery, or somebody who maybe hasn't been shooting recently, I imagine you had several of those guys. If you had people there who haven't shot in 10 or 15 years, one thing I run into all the time as the editor at Petersen's Bowhunting, you have these guys that you meet and they're still shooting this bow that they've had for 12 or 15 years and they love it. And I'm like, dude, I totally get it. Right? It's you're so comfortable with this bow. It's like an extension of your body. But at the same time, if you haven't actually picked up a bow in the last 10 years, you're going to be blown away by how much the technology has improved, how much smoother these bows are, how much more consistently they're going to shoot, how much easier they are to tune, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I bet you opened some eyes there from some of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go back to that event that we had on Saturday, when we had some guys that they walked back by our tent after they got done shooting the Legends course, and which took them about 3 hours to do on Saturday because of how the course was designed. And he said, yeah, I'd love to shoot one of those bows, but there's no way I'm buying a bow right now. And I said, listen, man, you can shoot every bow we got in here as many times as you want to. And I'm never going to try to convince you to buy it. Just go over there and shoot it as much as you want. He goes over and loses a couple of arrows. And he said, all right, well, let me buy the arrows. which of course we didn't make him do that. It's just part of it. But it was a lot of fun to see him do that. But yeah, you're right though, with seeing folks that are shooting bows that, man, they've been shooting them for 15 years or something. And bows have changed so much, and everybody still wants to shoot a 70-pound bow, but man, it doesn't take 70 pounds to get the job done. My favorite customer that I've got, his name is Charles Howard. He just turned 84 years old and he's still hunting with a compound bow. And we've got that bow set. I think we've got it set at about 43 pounds. And he didn't have a good season this past season. He got a couple. 2 years ago, he killed 6 deer on our farm and got a full pass through on every single one of them. But he knows what he's doing. I can promise you that.
Well, that's
84,
awesome.
He still hangs all of his own stands and the whole 9 yards, man. It's incredible. So that would be another encouragement that I'd tell people, that if you got bad shoulders or if you can't pull 70 pounds, it doesn't necessarily mean it's time to go to a crossbow. Now, I love crossbows and they're cool, but if you want to keep shooting that compound bow, there's a way to do it.
Well, listen, I want to get Brandon involved, but before I jump over to him, I want to give you an opportunity to just briefly give an overview of your event, because I know it's brand new here, 2022. This is your first year. It's the Bowtreader 3D Tour of Georgia. Like you said, right. I know you've already had at least one of your events, but you have several more coming up. So just kind of highlight the format of what you guys are doing with your events, and then real quick, just hit me the dates and the locations of your upcoming shoots and where people maybe can, hop online or whatever to get more information.
Yeah. So the easiest thing to do is hop on our website. It's just bowtreader.com. It's BOWTREADER.com. And you can go on there. There's a prominent location on the website where you can get to it and see all the details about the different locations and go on and register and all that kind of stuff. The way the events are designed, it's set up so you go in and you select an actual day and time that you want to shoot. So you're not having to come and sit around waiting for your turn to shoot. We set up 3 courses at every event. We've got the Discovery Zone, which is where those kids or someone who is brand new to archery, they come and they get to shoot some 3D targets and some bag targets and just have some fun. And then we have the bow hunter course, which is designed to keep that guy or gal or young kid excited about archery. It's something that there's a central trail that you follow, and you take shots no longer than 50 yards on 3D targets. And that one is just to encourage people to keep shooting, to have fun, right? And then we have the Legends course, and it is designed to crush your soul. It is.
And also
sell that one back. I've been sitting here paying attention, but that was a good one.
and that's the one for the arrow manufacturers and pro shops, because you got to sell them. They got to come back for a dozen arrows to finish the course.
There's not a single ethical shot on the course, but
right.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We had folks this past weekend that the location that we were at. Typically, we don't have a lot of topography. We're in a coastal plain area, so we don't have a whole lot of topography to play with. But our event that we just had was above the fall line here in Georgia, so there was a lot of topography. And we got people off of that central trail and let them get in there and take some real steep angled shots and stuff that we don't normally see around here. And it was a lot of fun. We didn't have too many people losing arrows. So, and then at the end of the event, our logo has a cross in it. So we had a local guy cut out our logo out of a 3/4 inch metal plate. And so if you want to, you can take on the Iron Cross at the end of the event. And we actually had some trad guys take a 106-yard shot on Saturday which was pretty cool. And I was so impressed with how close he came to hitting the target. I thought it was pretty impressive. But yeah, you can hop on our website or Facebook or whatever and see some videos of that. And most of the time, you hear the shot and then you hear a loud ding right after the shot.
So how many targets are your courses? How many on the course? 30, 50?
We carry 60 targets with us. So that we get 60 targets spread between those 3 courses. So
gotcha. And what are your upcoming dates for your remaining shoots?
So the next shoot that we've got is in Sylvester, Georgia, which is Southwest Georgia. That's going to be on May 28th. And then we're going clear across the state at an angle up to Athens, Georgia. That's going to be on June 11th. It's looking like our Savannah shoot is going to be on July the 9th, which is the weekend after July 4th. Holiday there. And then we've got a shoot in Rome, Georgia, which is the northwest corner of Georgia. That one is going to be on July 23rd. And then we'll have one here at our home farm in Statesboro. That one it's looking like that one's going to be August 20th. That'll be our annual event. So we expect that one to, that'll be our kind of our home turf where all of our customers get to come. We do what we call a bonanza every year, where we just have folks come out. All the reps that we sell for will be there at the event. We do food and fun for the whole family. So that one will be a lot of fun as well.
Well, it sounds like he's got, Brandon, some real good opportunities for us to sweat if we want to get out and shoot our bows this summer, because I'd imagine being out there half a day in July or August in Georgia is going to be a little muggy and buggy, my man. But so I think it's a good transition, because he talked about lack of topography because he's down there in the Savannah area, so It's kind of flat, and he's pretty close to sea level. If you want to do the exact opposite of sea level, you want to go out west and see Brandon and shoot him out in Archery Fest, because he's going to get you probably a mile high or better on his shoots and really show you what it's like to shoot up and down hills.
That's a fact. We've got mountains from anywhere that start from here at 5,000 feet for the event, and we've got one that starts at Vendor Village is at 10,000 feet. So we definitely got some mountains for you to come and have fun on, no doubt. But to go back a little bit on what John was mentioning, it's just awesome to hear what he's put together in a tour down there in Georgia, man. I mean, I was checking your website out while you were talking and looking at the pictures from your last event, and man, that's awesome. You guys look like you had a lot of fun and a great time, and even some of the kids showing the signs that they're a new archer, things that, being proud of that, and things of that nature. I mean, it's just what we're all about. We have a lot of similarities. We're trying to introduce people into the sport of archery. Maybe the end goal is to get a college scholarship. Maybe the end goal is to shoot paper and go to Vegas. Maybe the end goal is to go out and acquire your own food. Whatever your end goal is, we're here to help you get started. We're here to help you achieve building the self-esteem and the skills necessary to get to your goals. And that's what MAF is about. We want to be the most inclusive 3D event in the US. And what makes us the most inclusive event is the people that come. And so to offer, to our shooters, our registrants, the ability to walk up to a shooting range like John had and say, I've never shot a bow before in my life. And we can say, well, you came to the right spot, because we're going to show you how. We've got USA instructors on our shooting line. We've got multiple different bows that we can adjust and set up like John has done. And that's important. When we're in these big events, in some of these locations where we have public people walking around checking out what we're doing. We're under the scope all the time. And so, but what's cool is that we have people walk off the street that are just like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like, well, we're having a 3D archery event. And they're like, you guys are shooting those things on the mountain? You know, I mean, some people are like, they can't even fathom that we have 1,000 people with bows in their hands all over this hill. And, but then, you know, we're so open, and we, like John, we enjoy people. We're in this because we're passionate about what we're doing, and we love people. We love archery. We love, from a kids course and the track action mobility course. It also crosses over as a competition course on Saturday. But our other 4 courses on the mountain are all for fun. You can come and shoot them and have a great time and enjoy the sport on the mountain and get to try all sorts of different scenarios and different stuff. So our courses, we start with the kids course, and then we move up to our beginner course, which is our Pope and Young course. We've replicated the 29 North American antlers and horns off the 29 North American Slam, and we have reintroduced these animals to you and present them to you how they were taken by the shooter. You'll replicate the yardage, angle, and as much of that shot as we possibly can, given the territory that we have to put it in. And that's awesome. There's a great educational sign there. You get to learn about the animal, their history, their health, things that are going on with them. And then a small little spot down there on the bottom about that shooter. You know, it's not really about
That's
you.
cool, man. That is
It's not
cool.
about, you know, it's not about you. This is about the animal. This is about you getting to go shoot a course and seeing what has been recorded as the #1 world record taken by a bow. This is an animal at its best, at its prime. And what's cool about this course too is that there's not one shot over 60 yards on this course. That's a testament to the quality of hunters that took the lives of these amazing animals. So imagine the one moose, the Shira, 3 yards. That's it. 3 yards.
And that's because that was the shot that guy actually had.
That was the shot.
Yeah.
So, you know, people are like, well, it's too close. It's like, no, it's not. Stand there, draw your bow, and imagine that animal with a heartbeat stand in front of you, and you're 3 yards from it, and it doesn't quite know you're there yet, and it could kill you if in a fraction of a second, if it wanted to, with one whip of its head, right? So it's really cool. It's a great course, the Pope and Young course, and then from there we move up to where we have kind of an exotics course. And so, you know, just fun, fantasy, exotic style targets, stuff from Italy, stuff from Austria. We bring in Kirsch targets, SRT targets. You know, we just want people to have stuff they've never shot before. I mean, some of the 3D can get redundant. And so, you know, we're just always trying to raise the game and trying to bring up, you know, new stuff for people to engage in. And then from there, we step up into our Western big game course. And that is an awesome course that you can really sharpen your Western hunting skills. This course is basically set by myself. This is the one that I do out of the team. And I take a lot of pride in setting it because basically I'm setting it on things that I've learned over my hunting career as an archer, things that I've succeeded at, things that I suck at, things that, you know, that I'm trying to get, you know, that I'm working on my craft, right? And so I give you 25 different hunting opportunities on that course to really work your angles, your second axis, your third axis. I mean, you're working through, you know, wind and terrain problems and obstacles, you know, I mean, real life shooting scenarios. And none of this is out of bounds as far as ethical shooting either. But then we step into what we have our Predator course this year. And that is kind of like John said, there is nothing on this course that you should ever try to replicate for real. It's very unethical, but what we like about that course is that it really offers a lot of opportunity for you to learn a lot of angles, a lot of different things, a lot of different distances, threading the needle, really understanding the arc of your arrow. You know, because you may think it's clear, but I'm setting you in a position where if you're shooting a 280 FPS or less arrow, you've probably got some issues in the air somewhere I've given you with tree limbs or different things. And so, you know, throughout all of our courses, we're always just trying, as you step up to each course, we're elevating your game. You know, so like, for instance, on the Pope and Young course, there's 2 or 3 targets that kind of in distance should belong on the next course up, right? On the exotics course. And on the exotics course, there's 2 or 3 shots that really should belong on the Western Big Game course. And what's cool about that is that when you get done with that course and you say, wow, I did great on that course, and I say, well, how'd you do on these 3 targets? And they're like, well, I did really good. And I'm like, well, you should move up a course because you've built some self-esteem. You've built some, some knowledge based around yourself and your equipment and your ability, and you're growing in your setup and in your sport. And each course gives people an opportunity to do that without stretching them too far in between each course, right? To where it's unachievable for them. So we're just always really trying to keep that in mind. We're a 3-day event. We're a festival style event. We do a lot of work with local charities on Fridays, which is a ton of fun. But the core element of MAF is wrapped around family. And we do everything we can to facilitate having a mountain that is warm, comfortable, not intimidating, and somewhere where anybody can come and be safe and welcome. And I think that's super important because as John and I are trying to target non-shooters as well as shooters, we have to present a very good opportunity for that to happen. And I think that as event directors like us, that's our responsibility to do that. And I think it sounds like John's doing a great job. And I know that we're here for people when they're ready to come out west, or if they're already in the west. We every one of our shoots that we have offers a little bit different theme, if you will, a little bit different expectations. So
with that, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you, but why don't you hit on the dates and the locations of your shoots for this year? Because I know you told me you have Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana.
That's correct. So we start off our first event in 3 weeks. We leave in 2 weeks to head on over there. We'll be at Soldier Hollow, just outside of Heber, Utah. And this is a really unique venue. We're going to the old Olympic grounds from 2002, and we're taking over the biathlon basin. And we're going to get to set up there at the old grounds, and comes with some really unique opportunities at that venue. And that is May 27th through the 29th. And then 2 weeks later, we come back into Colorado, and we'll be at Purgatory Resort on June 10th through the 12th. And that's in the southwest corner of the state of Colorado. And then 2 weeks after that, we head back down to southern Utah. And we'll be at Eagle Point, and that is June 24th through the 26th. And then 2 weeks after that, we head up to Wyoming, to Antelope Butte Recreation Area. And that's a new location for us this year. It's on the top of the Bighorns. That's kind of a cool event because there's nothing there. There's no hotels. There's no nothing. I mean, it is on the top of this mountain. It is beautiful, green, gorgeous place. We're bringing the whole city in for you, all your services, all your food, restrooms, everything you need to have a great event there. And now kind of our Wild Wild West shoot, if you will, because there's no neighbors. We can have a really good time there. So we can turn the music up a little bit louder on Friday night and Saturday night and have a good time. So and then 2 weeks after that, we head up into Montana, another new location for us, which is in Kalispell. We've had a shoot up there the last few years on the border of Montana and Idaho, but we found a new home that we're really excited about, and that's at Blacktail Mountain Ski Resort, just outside of Lakeside in Kalispell. And so we're all over the West, from up north there down to southwestern Colorado, and we're adding events every year. And so look us up, mountainarcheryfest.com. We have a monster website because there's so much that happens at our events. We have seminars. We have full draw film tour, film night on Saturday nights. I keep going on. Pope and Young Wild Game dinner. It's just a ton of fun to come and really experience, as much of archery as you can, and support our National Archery Association, Pope and Young, and some other local nonprofits as well, depending on what location you go to. So, we're just here to give back. We're here to be a part of the community, and we're here to just help people find this sport and enriching their lives a little bit, because I can tell you that, the reason I'm in this sport and the reason why I'm doing Mountain Archery Fest is because archery's changed my life over the years. I went from a whole different lifestyle that wasn't really healthy to really enjoying what I'm doing here and being in the mountains and being around people. And it's helped feed my 9 children and my wife, and my, 5 of my 9 children hunt. 2 of them don't shoot at all. They don't have any interest, but they're very supportive of what we do. But obviously they like to eat. All my children are carnivores. So that's, that's kind of why I'm here. It's just something that as it's helped shape my life, it's something that I wanted to give back to, and something that I've seen how much it's helped my children and their focus and cause and effect and accountability and learning to stand on their own 2 feet, right? Be under that pressure we talked about earlier, having those opportunities. I mean, when you can do things within your own skin with something and you're learning things, and it builds character and self-confidence within, our children, and even with ourselves. I mean, even myself, it can help change my day just like that. So
yeah,
gentlemen.
Well, I don't know about you, right, you guys, but like as I was listening to both of you, I was thinking, man, I want to go to both of these events, right? And John, you were probably listening, to Brandon and thinking, man, that Mountain Archery Fest sounds pretty cool. And Brandon, when John was talking, you were probably thinking, man, I wish I could get down there to Georgia and go to one of his events, because that's really neat. And, that's kind of what's so cool, and you both touched on it, like the archery community is kind of like a family, and when you get bow hunters together, when you get archers together, I've been in this industry for a long time, and it's just full of good, down-to-earth people who enjoy, simple pleasures. There's nothing simpler really than pulling a string back and launching a sharp stick, and just enjoying some fresh air.
And simple?
Well,
simple?
we overcomplicate it. I think, a lot of times,
yeah.
and at its essence, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
When you think about the fact that archery is at least 10,000 years old, it's not that complicated.
Right.
Is your event, Brandon, similar to what John's doing, in that if I want to come shoot a mountain archery fest, I'm going to get on your website, I'm going to register for a day, a time, and a course in advance?
Yeah, you definitely. We appreciate you going in and registering ahead of time. That really helps us in our planning stages. But we do allow you to walk up, to the events. We can't turn anybody away from the sport. So we prefer one way, but absolutely sign up. You can get a start time in the morning. Pick a course you want to start in the morning. Pick that time. Make sure there's availability for you and everybody that you want to shoot with in that time slot. Register. And then when you're done with that course, you can go back out and ride the lift back up, and you can go shoot as much foam as you want. The only one you have to schedule is just your first one in the morning.
Gotcha. And the other thing that I wanted to ask both of you is it fair to say that you can keep score while you're shooting your events, but that it's not necessarily a contest or a competition?
Yeah,
Brandon?
Go ahead, John. So we do have the Mountain Madness competition on Saturday, but all the other targets on the mountain, all the other courses are for fun. You can keep track if you want. We have scorecards available for you if you'd like. We have people that keep score. We have people that bet 12 packs of beer, dinner. You got. Brody and his dad last year, they were betting a quarter a target, 25 cents a target on who won, right? And so, there's all these side bets going on all the time on the mountain. So you can do whatever you want. Just come and have some fun.
Yeah, same thing with us. We don't provide any kind of scorecards or anything, but it's, the way that we do it, we allow 7 people to sign up for each time slot. Well, there might be one guy coming by himself, and he winds up getting paired up with 4 or 5 other guys that he's never met before, and gets to go and man, before we know it, they hang out together all day long, and they're giving each other a hard time, and they might be betting something, and we kind of float around the courses. My guys do, and we'll go throw a sticker on a target, and we won't necessarily put it where it's supposed to be. We'll just put a sticker on the target, and somebody can hit that dime, they'll win a free target or a pack of broadheads or whatever we feel like giving away for that particular sticker. And sometimes that can vary based on who's putting the sticker on the target. So, but yeah, it's just about getting out and having fun. It's kind of where we are with it right now. So,
yeah, and I think in addition to the fun, and you both touched on this as well, is the learning, because you learn more from your mistakes most of the time, unfortunately, than we do from our successes. Because when things don't go according to plan, a rational person has to ask themselves, okay, what can I do differently to achieve a different result? And that's a nice thing about, if you're shooting a competition, a straight out competition, whether it's an ASA, an IBO, you go through the course, and this is how many arrows you get on each target. And if it's a 0, it's a 0, pal, and it goes on the card. And if it's a 14, so be it, and anything in between. And the nice thing about these shoots, and I've done some shoots with this kind of format, is like, it's okay. It's like being on the golf course and taking a mulligan. If you're on Brandon's Western Hunter course or his Predator course, and he's got some insane 123-yard shot through 12 bushes at a fox target, that's got a vital area the size of a softball, and you don't hit it on the first time, hey, it's only arrows. Easton's making more every day. Carbon Express is making more every day, and they love it when you bust them and lose them, because that's how they make their money. So, just pull another arrow out of your quiver and see if you can fix whatever you screwed up on the first time, and that's cool. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and something we do on the Predator courses, I set up a bunch of pairs. So you've got prey and predator, right? So what's cool is I set some of those scenarios up on purpose with double stations so that you have another opportunity, right? To be like, okay, I learned from that one. I'm going to send one at that, I can shoot that other target. But it just creates that double opportunity for you to learn that cause and effect. And it's a lot of fun that way.
Oh, and the other thing, and you talked about it, Brandon, working your angles, working your wind. Again, these are all things where during hunting season, you're not going to have a second opportunity. If you've been hiking around in the mountains all week and you finally have a nice bull elk, 54 yards away, quartering away, you've got 5 or 10 seconds to get drawn, take your aim, make your shot. That's it, So this is the time during the summer while you're shooting those 3Ds, make, checking that level part of your shot routine. Make, the reading the wind part of your shot routine, and this is where you can get that practice. And again, same thing for you, John. Us East Coast guys, it's more whitetail, but it's the same thing of, it might not be quite as physically demanding, but trust me, like Brandon, I don't know if you get to the Midwest or if you come east and hunt whitetails much, but if you're getting up before the crack of dawn day after day in November and just putting hour after hour after hour in the tree, there's nothing more, John, you used the term earlier, to crush your soul. There's nothing more soul crushing than waiting for an opportunity at that buck, and you might have 120 hours invested in this dang tree stand. If you have to stare at the same patch of woods for another 5 minutes, you're going to lose your mind. And the buck finally shows up, and and you shoot right over his back or right under his belly. You know what I mean? So again, there's a value in this that, yes, it's fun. Yes, it's a great time. Yes, it's something to do during the time that there is no hunting. But I think that we'd all should approach it, at least somewhat intentionally at the same time.
I think one of the coolest things that we've seen so far is getting to help people with their setups. We'll have a guy out there that is shooting, and he's like, man, I can see my arrow moving after I shoot, and I can't figure out what's going on. Yeah, just going crazy. And, so I worked with one guy in particular, and he was shooting a 68 pounds and 29 and a half inch draw, shooting a 400 spine arrow with 200 grains up front. And I have a high speed camera, and I filmed it, and I showed it to him, and he said, "Man, that thing looks like a wet noodle coming out of my bow." And I said, "Well, that's what you're seeing, buddy." And then I sent him to a local pro shop, and I said, "Hey, go down there and talk with this guy, and tell him you need some real arrows." And he said, well, "What's wrong with my arrows?" I said, "Listen, all of us have shopped where you bought these arrows from, and we've bought packs of socks, and we've bought, beef jerky and things like that. But don't go buy your arrows there. Okay, go to a pro shop and let them help you, and get what you need for your bow." And that was a cool thing that we got to do. And I think that's something that we've learned doing this. And Brandon, I'm sure you've seen this as well. People want to know what is the best way to get things set up, and being able to come in and help them with that. Not just from the perspective of a retailer and trying to, saying, "Hey, this is what you need, buy this," but showing them this is what you need and why, and teaching people, hey, getting a perfect tear through paper, yeah, that's cool, but that's not everything. If you get a perfect tear through paper, but you can't hit the target on a consistent basis, you're still not ready to hunt, right? So being able to get out in the real world and kind of flesh that out with people has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's rewarding. It feels great to help people grow, in their sport, and people are hungry for knowledge. And that's something why we've added the seminars to our events this year. People want to know more about gear. They want to know more about what they're using and what they're doing. And, that's absolutely right. And I think my biggest takeaway from 3D for hunting is we get stuck on dots on targets or rings or different things. And what this allows you is different lighting, shadows, shading, all this different scenarios in the 3D shooting. And that's one of the hardest things for me was picking that spot on that animal in that moment, right then, like where that animal stands, right? Is this, where is your entry point? Where is your exit? Where, how do you really shoot this animal in this position? And there's no way to replace it other than replicating it as best that you can in as many scenarios as possible so that you're ready for that. I think after you learn your gear and you get to a certain point where you're shooting well and different things, then there's those next levels of, that target acquisition, that small point on their fur, like where exactly am I going to shoot? And I think that 3D really helps with a lot of that. And it helps you understand that the concept of where those lungs are and where the heart is from any angle and where should your arrow actually go. And I think that that's extremely helpful with it from 3D and how it really applies to the reality of hunting. And that's important for me. That's what I practice all summer long. That's what I'm practicing on these courses as I'm shooting. I'm shooting everything for kill. I'm shooting everything for entry and exit. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from it. And then just like you say, being in some pressured situations, right, where you are anxious or where you do have some pressure, where you are shooting in front of some people that maybe you're grouped with that you don't know. All those things help you. Even when we do our competition shoot off at the end, I make them all stand there next to each other and shoot right next to each other. I mean, it's nerve-wracking just watching them. But every one of them has told me that it's helped them grow. We've got Colton Green, a young man who started shooting with us 4 years ago, and now he went and shot Vegas this year. And he told me that me making him stand on a line with other kids, and he even will step up and shoot with the adults, even when he's not really supposed to, because he just wants to be, heart elevated, and he wants to be shook up a little bit and challenge himself. And now, through those things, now he's standing in Vegas with 100 kids standing next to him, and he's just calm, cool, and collected, and he's just enjoying himself, and he's shooting great. And so all those things help, man.
Absolutely. There was a shoot that I went to a couple of years ago in the, a similar format to like Mountain Archery Fest, right? There was a vendor area, at the base of the mountain. And so the first target was right there, kind of adjacent to the vendor area, and everybody could see you. And the very first shot, it was an uphill shot at like 87 yards or something like that. Very first shot of the course at a bighorn. And it's like being at a golf event, and everyone's gathered around the first tee, and you're like, man, I don't want to shank this thing. I don't want to hit this drive into the other fairway. And that's how I felt. I'm like, man, I gotta, at bare minimum, I gotta hit foam, right? I can't let this, I can't let this arrow go and like have the sound of carbon in the trees. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta have the thunk. And like, yeah, so you draw and you aim and like you let that thing go. And at a shot that long, it's like you're waiting, and you hear boom. And you're like, okay, it's good. You know what I mean? Let me get on the mountain where everybody can't see me anymore.
That's a fact. Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing that. I think that's genius to put that first shot like right out of the gate right there. I might have to steal that one. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yes.
But, I think I think that 3D offers a lot of challenges. It offers a way more rewards. The relationships that we alluded to earlier, John, the camaraderie, the people that continue to come back with new people. It just fills your heart. It fills your soul, and it just keeps you grinding. It keeps you grinding in the off season, keeps you pushing to the next event. And, and it's, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, gentlemen, than on these mountains, setting these targets and welcoming people to the event.
Well, and another thing that we didn't touch on, and I want to hit before we wrap up is, we talked about, the wind, we talked about the angles, we talked about the mental side of the game, we talked about the equipment side of the game. Well, another thing, and it's really a lost art among most people, unless you're a Levi Morgan or one of his peers, doing this for a living, is the range estimation. Because we all have something around our neck nowadays, right? And we become very reliant on that laser rangefinder. And don't get me wrong, I've got one. I've got about 5 actually, and I certainly wouldn't want to be without one in the field. But there are going to be times when it's not practical to use it on every opportunity, and hopefully you've at least ranged maybe a couple of objects somewhere around you and you have some reference. But there's a lot to be said for teaching yourself some ranging. And what I like to do sometimes, if I'm on a 3D course and it's not super crowded, again, if you have time to maybe take 2 shots at a target, try to shoot the target the first shot, just estimating the range. Okay, then you see if you're high or low. Then you hit it with the rangefinder, and then take a second shot with a known distance, and you see just how critical that knowledge is, and also helping you to refine those estimation skills.
I find it extremely challenging, to be honest, ranging. There's different things there. Like, I can spend a lot of time shooting at some of these 3D targets, and then I get to the field and that elk is, another 300 pounds bigger animal. And I kind of find myself messing up there sometimes. But I think that the more often that you do, like you said, you do a guess shot and then do a follow-up shot, your brain learns. It learns the cause and effect. It remembers those things. And so it will apply in the field for you later. It will help you out a lot. And I'm kind of a big cheater, you guys. I tell people not to shoot more than 1 or 2 arrows on a course, but like when I shoot a course, man, I'm shooting tons of arrows at the same target to try to see all the cause and effect and stuff, shooting from my knees, shooting standing up, shooting different ways at a target, trying to see how different I shoot at things based on distances and angles and things too. So that's always a lot of fun as well. So.
Yeah, well, and that range estimation is definitely hard. I mean, it really is. And it's what separates the men from the boys, because there's a reason, like there's a reason that Levi has accomplished what he's accomplished, and it's not only because he's a great shot. He's also arguably like the best range estimator in history, and there's also a reason that there's a known pro division, because there's a lot of those spot shooters that come out of the indoor game, out of that Vegas game, and they want to go shoot some of those 3Ds, but they're not really interested or capable of judging the distance, and so they're going to go shoot known pro, where they just have to make the shot. They don't have to worry about that range estimation. You do that unknown, that open pro, that is a whole different ball game. And I mean, there's no way I could hang, with those guys. I mean, not shooting either, but I'd be at a serious deficit having to, judge the yardage on all those shots. So anyway, guys, I'll tell you what. I mean, an hour always goes fast on these podcasts. I think we're coming up close on that. Thank you both, not just for being on the show today, but for providing an opportunity, John down in Georgia. Okay, all you folks who are listening to this, if you're in the Southeast, check out that event, man. Check out the Bowtreader 3D Tour of Georgia and make a road trip. Get a couple of buddies. It sounds like an awesome time. And if you're in the West, or if you just have some summer vacation, because who doesn't love to go to the West during the summer, because there's a million things to do. You can shoot a mountain archery fest. You can go visit some historical sites, some national landmarks, and just really enjoy yourself. Check out the Mountain Archery Festival. And I think if you're a serious or even semi-serious archer bow hunter, you're going to have a hard time not having an enjoyable day at either one of these events.
And yeah, we want folks to come out and have fun with us. And you're right, there will definitely be a lot of sweating going on, but we've got some stuff planned to help keep folks as cool as we possibly can. So y'all come join us.
Oh, and you probably have T-shirts for the event too. So you go shoot the course, you get all sweated through the shirt that you came in, and you got a nice dry, Bowtreader shirt for sale at the end.
There you go. Actually, they get a free shirt when they register. So anybody that registers or anybody that comes out and shoots gets a free shirt. So
awesome.
An extra little token there.
Well, thanks, John, and thank you as well, Brandon. I wish you the best of luck with this year's events. And like I said, I'm just intrigued enough about both that maybe I can come up with an excuse why Petersen's Bow Hunting needs to foot the bill for me to go to Georgia or head out to Colorado or Wyoming or something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I got your passes covered if you come out here. You just tell them to get your transportation and you can come shoot with us.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. I wish you, like I said, great success with the events, and good luck to you this fall as well.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for downloading the Petersen's Bowhunting Podcast. All bow hunting, all the time. Pick up the latest issue of Petersen's Bowhunting magazine on your local newsstand, or connect with us online at bowhuntingmag.com.